I'm Mirren Mack. I've been asked by the Tolbooth to speak today and to say a little bit about my experiences. I've got some questions that I have in a book here, so I'm going to just go through them and answer them as non-boringly as possible. We'll see how we are in a few minutes' time. So thank you very much for having me here today. First things first. Who am I? I'll start on that. So I'm Mirren. I was born in Stirling. I am Scottish through and through. Cut me, I bleed tartan. I have whiskey in my veins. I love the rain. I actually do love the rain. I went out the other day on a walk in the rain and it was very peaceful. But I do like the sunshine as well. I'm just giving you all the stereotypes of the Scottish person, like whiskey. Actually, don't really. Not yet. Haven't mustered it, but we'll get there. So yes, that's me. I live in Stirling with my mum, my dad and my sister. My dad is an actor, Billy Mack. He has performed in theatres all over Scotland, all over the country. He has also done film and television, and I think watching him on stage and in plays was my introduction, my dream of. It started me getting excited about theatre and acting and watching him. So that was my first experience of acting, and I loved it. I also apparently, when I was a baby and I couldn't like speak or anything, as soon as EastEnders like came on, I would start to jam. So obviously that maybe was my first connection to real acting. My mum, Callan, she is a drama teacher. Now, when my dad and my mum first met, they were working for Stirling and they met in the Tolbooth, funnily enough, so thank you very much for mine and my sister's existence. And they did amazing projects where they would go push this massive wagon up the hill from the Tolbooth to the castle and do historical plays and use characters who used to live in the castle rather to perform to crowds who'd come to the castle as tourists or as visitors. So that's how they met, which is brilliant because it's amazing that Stirling is the reason for their connection. So that's how they met, and my mum, now she teaches drama and she does stuff all over the country, teaching children about history through drama, which is really cool. I've gone to Stanley Mills where she's worked, I've gone up to Huntly, and she uses both her love for history and her love for drama and her love for teaching all in one, and it's a really cool experience. She also works in Monument Dance Centre, which is where I've gone since I was 2.5 to do ballet classes in the wee tutu with my wee sister, and she teaches drama and I've gone to every one of her classes. She is the best teacher, and I'm not just saying that because I'm her daughter, because I mean she's the best mum and teacher, but she is an incredible teacher, and everything that I know and have learned has come from her and her heart and her love and her imagination. She's the sort of person, and I'm sure she'll be watching this, so sorry if I'm making you feel a bit cringy, but she's the sort of person who, if you saw a puddle in the middle of the street and you're like, oh, it's a rainy day, it's a puddle, she's the sort of person who'd be like, no, it's a bath for a bird to go and sit in. It's the reflection, it's a mirror of the world. Like, she doesn't see things just boringly. She looks for the joy and love in the world. And so, yeah, and through that imagination and the way of looking and imagining and playing, comes the love of acting and drama. So I was very lucky to be born and brought up in this family because it's been a really creative place. I've never felt not allowed to do anything, not allowed to try and express myself and explore something that I'm passionate about. Maybe like I tried skateboarding for a little while, which was just me sitting on the skateboard and going down the hill. And then once I did 2 scooters at once thinking I could ski, and then I smashed open my knee, and so I wasn't really encouraged to do that again, but they've been the best parents that I could ask for. And the third part of this family, the other ingredient, is my sister Molly, who is a superior human being. She is fantastic. I adore her. She's an artist, an actor, a musician, songwriter. She's in a band called the Cobalts. She's used the Tolbooth. She's had her artwork up there, and she's had multiple gigs that have been incredible. Really good, a good wee dance, man. So she's a massive part of my heart and my sort of reason. Like, a lot of acting work, when I think about where my emotions lie, a lot of them lie with her and with my mum and my dad and my family. So it's interesting. They're always on my mind throughout work. And so is Stirling, actually. This place I love. And I once, I was at my drama school, and someone else from Stirling came down to audition, and everyone was like, "Oh, you're from Stirling. We've heard it's like Narnia and all these things, and just like this history like in every inch of it." And this person was like, "What?" Did not feel the same way about Stirling as I did, and I was very upset. So I think it's amazing. I love my neighbours. I love the people that I know in Stirling, who are Stirling to me. And there's this thing I once got told, you're daughter of the rock, because of the rock that Stirling Castle is on, and I love that. That's something I want engraved on me, or on a thing that I have. I think it's cool. I'm a daughter of the rock, and someone else would be a son of the rock. So I like that. That's something that keeps me going. And I like the history. I like that we fought in Stirling for freedom, and that there's history like in the castle, Wallace Monument, and the River Forth. I'm pretty sure someone told me there was like whales that once came into the River Forth, which sounds really dangerous because it's not that big. Anyway, they might have just been pulling my leg, but love Stirling, love Scotland, and I've been very grateful for the opportunities that have come from here and this amazing land. So I do acting. I'm an actor. I've just come out of drama school almost a year ago, and so I've just been acting professionally for a year. But my journey to doing that was, I went to all of the drama classes, like I said, with my mum as a teacher. I did dance classes as well, and singing. My favourite has always been acting, because for me, it's different for everyone, but that's the one for me with the most freedom and the most challenge for me. And I like stories, and I like words, and I like being able to have, when I watch theatre or when I watch film and television, it's amazing to be able to have an experience from watching someone else. And I think to be able to do that is a real cool gift to be able to do that is a really incredible and exciting thing. So that's why I love performing. When I first did dance classes at Monument, we used to do dance shows, and they still do, but when I was there, I was just little, and I was standing on a stage and looking out into an audience, and there's just something, even from that age, it's like electricity. It's incredible. It's you, the audience, interpact with whoever's on stage, the creative person who's acting, singing, dancing, miming, eating a sandwich, whatever it is. You suspend belief and you enter this world together, and that is exciting and amazing. So I loved it. It's almost like an adrenaline drug that is very addictive, performing, because it could all go wrong in the blink of an eye. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know if someone is going to say the right line. It's live and it's alive. So that's what I love about performing and theatre and being on a stage with real life people in front of me. But funnily enough, my first experiences of acting professionally have been in film and television, which I had no experience of at all, and not really a clue what I was doing. So that was nerve-wracking. I was in 2 shows this past year, or created them last year. I think they've both come out this year, 2020, which has been interesting. So I had Sex Education, where I played Florence, who is a young, enthusiastic, drama-loving queen who thinks that she is Meryl Streep. She thinks she is the bee's knees, and everyone should really understand that she is exceptional. So that is Florence. And in her school she has a real struggle with everyone else's appetite for sex, everyone else's questions, and I'm going to speak about this more in the question and answer section that is coming up later. But she discovers within herself that she is asexual and that she is different to the people that she's met in her school and she's encountered, and her journey of understanding herself and what that brings, her owning herself and her sexuality and letting the world see her fully. So that was an awesome and exciting and brilliant challenge, and also it was just a beautiful storyline. So I really loved playing Florence in Sex Education. And then the next thing I did was The Nest, which has been filmed in Glasgow, and again I'll speak about this in the question and answer section. But The Nest was a story of a wealthy couple from one side of Glasgow who had seemingly everything they could possibly wish for. They had great cars, really great cars, a beautiful house, amazing jobs, they loved each other, they had a supportive family, they sort of had everything you could dream of. But the one thing they couldn't do was conceive a child, to have a baby. And they were on their last try. They tried many times and they were on their last embryo. And then they have a chance encounter with this young girl from the other side of Glasgow completely, who's grown up in very different circumstances, with insecure care, being given a really difficult bringing up, or not really being brought up by people who care about her. And so she enters the scene and changes their life, for better or for worse, we shall see. But it was an amazing story where my morals were constantly questioned, and I was not able to know who I trusted in and who was manipulating who, and who was why. It was very much driven by human want and need, and so it was an exciting opportunity to explore that. And it was cool. It was 3 months of filming, and it was just one of the most exciting times of my life ever. So that was the 2 film and television things that I have done. And then I did I did a couple of weeks in a theatre project called Beast of Blue Yonder, but then that got sadly postponed. So hopefully it'll return, but it was an awesome play written by Philip Ridley. It was a world premiere, so I was really excited about doing that. Why starting acting? So yeah, it was from my mum and my dad's, their love of drama and theatre and film and television, and their passion and their play. When I was young, well, still to this day, playing is so important, and it has been a key part of, I think that's why I love acting so much, is because it's playing. It's playing. it's just imagination and having a game or world that you enter into and commit to. That's the sort of key element for it for me. What was my journey? So, started off, I was at Holy Trinity, and my experience of acting there would probably be like the nativity play. I started off there. The school had too few students, and so it shut down pupils. It shut down. But that was an amazing school, and honestly, every single lesson that I have carried with me, I know the seeds were started growing in that school, because the one thing that I didn't listen to is measurements, and I can't get it into my head for the life of me. The other day I was like, there's no such thing as a centilitre. I just can't figure out millilitres, litres, kilometres. I know they're different. Acres, yards, I don't know. I know I definitely could learn it, but anyway, that was because I didn't listen. I was daydreaming about, I think, fish and trying to figure out what this thing that Jesus was. I just was a bit confused. Anyway, at the time, I was, trying to figure out a lot of stuff. So no wonder measurements didn't go in. And then I went to Riverside Primary School, and I loved that as well. I remember thinking, I have peaked. Primary 7, we're getting out, we're playing in the park at lunchtime. This is it. I don't want first year to come. I can just live like this. Thank you. But then first year did come. Went to Wallace High School. I for some reason it came to me. I was 12 in my athletics competition, but I don't know, I think it was probably out of 13 people, I'm not sure. That is really not of interest, sorry, it just came into my mind and it came out my mouth. So I went to Wallace, and then it came to a sort of decision of whether I would continue studying academically, because there was a thing, my dad always sort of wanted me to either be an Olympic swimmer or a chemist, but sadly Rainbow Slide's shut and I wasn't up for travelling to, I think Larbert was the next pool, or chemistry. I mean, I liked making potions, but I don't think that I was the next Marie Curie at all. I don't think I had, I don't know, we made paint once using an egg yolk, which was really cool. And aspirin, I think. But anyway, not important, because I didn't end up doing either of those things. But I came to a decision, I was either going to go down, like, stick to studying or keep on going to my extracurricular classes, my drama classes. Like, my mum does a national qualification in acting at Monument, and I loved that, and we got to do plays and learn loads about the craft of acting, and that was, to me, was what filled my heart with want and desire, more so than my academic studies. And I thought I maybe had more to give in a creative way rather than in an academic way. So I went to a school in Glasgow called Knightswood Secondary School. It's the Dance School of Scotland, and I was on a musical theatre course for 2 years. I auditioned, and it's free to go to. It takes about, I think we had 18 people in our year. So I went there in Glasgow, and luckily enough they, because I was from Stirling and I'd be travelling in, they gave me free accommodation, which was incredible. So I was there from Monday to Friday, went home to Stirling on the weekend, slept for 1,000 years, probably was really grumpy and not very kind, but we're past that part, I hope, of my life. So yeah, went to Knightswood, where it was a very tough and rigorous training, and I'm very grateful because it's given me a lot of stamina and ability to sort of take notes, I think, and critique. So that was cool. And from there, I decided that as much as I love acting, singing and drama, and dance rather, my heart really wanted to study just drama purely on its own, because I was what made my heart go fastest was storytelling. I loved making people laugh. I don't know, I probably wasn't particularly funny, but I liked entertaining and doing that just with stories, and still to this day, if I'm saying something boring about, oh, I was walking up the hill and blah, 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 I'll get up and say it in front of the telly so no one else can, yeah, do you know what I mean? It's probably very annoying, but I liked performing and entertaining and stories, words. I think it's something to do with how we are as like cave people, something in us wants to tell stories. I think, well, from what I gather from like the drawings on the walls and how round a fire, that's your instinct to tell and to share. So I wanted to go somewhere where I could play and challenge and push with words and take risks in a sort of safe place that would let me take risks. And so I went for auditions to different drama schools. Now we had to save a lot of money to be able to do that because it's really expensive to go up and down to London lots of times because that's where most of the drama schools are. But luckily, there are drama schools in other places. Like here, there's the RCS, in Wales, in Ireland. There's drama schools, and in Wigan, in the north of Scotland, and Liverpool, there's loads of different places. But I was really drawn to some of the ones in London. So I was going up and down on the Megabus Gold, which was incredible. You got a bed on a bus. So it was like a hotel stay on wheels, but it left at 11 from Glasgow, got into London at 7 a.m. and was just quite exhausting. So I went there, and then I get up in the morning and sneak into, what's it called, Starbucks across the road, and like get changed out of my onesie into something hopefully drama school looking, brush my teeth in the sink, wash my face, dry it on myself. A bit of a scallywag, but I liked it because it gave me A, something to speak about when I was in those rooms, and B, it was like a little routine, and it helped me because I had time on the way down and I wasn't rushed or nervous, and I was so early because the audition often didn't start till like 1, and I was there at 7. I did auditions, and the school that I fell in love with was Guildhall School of Music and Drama, and well, they luckily accepted me and invited me to come and be at the school, but London is extremely expensive and school fees are also, so I had to apply to charities like the Donald Dewar Arts Award, which luckily my amazing tutor from Knightswood wrote a recommendation for me, and they helped fund me living in London, and SAS covered my school fees, and I got maintenance loans, and I was so lucky that through the kindness of strangers, TACT, the Actors Children's Trust, and many other charities, Guildhall scholarships for maintenance. Throughout my 3 years, different charities have really helped me. Laurence Olivier, Josephine Hart have really helped me be able to stay at the school and be able to afford to be there, and it is my dream to one day be able to do that for someone else, to be able to give to someone who wants to go and do this but can't afford to, because I mean it's only a very small group of people who can actually afford to do it, and you don't want to see the same people on your screens and in theatre. You want to see diversity and different people with different stories to tell. So I'm really grateful that I was able to go to drama school. And while I was there, I had an amazing 3 years. 2 years of craft training, breaking me down to my bad habits of sticking my neck out and trying to change myself, the bits that were blocking me from telling stories properly. And then my 3rd year was all about plays. I was doing plays, and I did an amazing play called Mercury Fur. That was my first experience of a sort of feeling like a professional play, and through that I met an agent who we signed and entered a contract of we're going to work together to try and do this thing called acting. And so from there I started auditioning through my final year at drama school, and that's how I ended up, while I was still at school, starting sex education. And then I did the audition while I was still in my final year for the Nest. And so I was so grateful because I had those two things to come once I finished, because I found being in school from year 4 till year 21, or in an institution rather, and then all of a sudden having nothing, having it taken away and being in a sort of abyss of, what do I do now? Do I self-motivate myself? Where's the teacher saying, now you should do this, Mirren, now you should do that? I found that really hard. And it's difficult when you're not getting, if you're going up for interviews and auditions and you're not getting it, it's hard. So it's really important to sort of remember you're a human, and that's something that I'll touch on later again in the question and answer session. I had those two things happen, and that took me up till December, and then I went back down to London because I came home for the Nest. Went back down to London, I went for auditions. I was reading plays and practising and trying to keep everything going, and then I started work on Beast of Blue Yonder, like I said. And then that got cancelled because the world that we're in with the coronavirus, and I ran back home as soon as I knew I didn't have any commitments to being in London, because I thought, I don't know how long this is going to last and I want to be with my family. And I've been here ever since, in my room. So yeah, that is my story. And just before I stop speaking, I'd like to just say that this is just my path and my experience, because there are so many different ways and wiggly paths to get to the same place of acting. If anyone who's listening wants to do this, because I mean, I've had friends who have just made theatre and put it on and have written a play and have said, this is what I want to do, and theatres have been like, yes, we love that, come and do it. And then they've met people from the industry that way. They've met agents or casting directors. That's one way. I've got people who went straight from Knightswood who haven't gone to drama school or musical theatre school, and they have gone into doing amazing jobs, like just since they were 18. And I've had people who have had no training whatsoever who have gone on and done incredible. They're some of the best well-known actors today. So it's totally different. This is just how I did it, because I chose this way. And I believe that what's for you won't go by you. And just to keep faith that everything's happening for the right reason. Yeah, just keep swimming, in the words of Dory. Thank you very much for listening. I don't think I've covered some things that I wanted to cover, but I've spoken for half an hour. Wow. I will stop. Thank you very much. Hello. Okay, I'm going to do a very quick question and answer round, because there's a lot of questions and I do want to get them all in. So, 1. What's your happiest memory growing up in Stirling? I would say Kings Park, the sort of tyre seesaw thing that is massive, and someone has to like run around the pool and push you. An adult probably, who has often been my mum and my dad, playing on that, just playing in Kings Park for hours on end. That's one of my favourite memories. 2. What's your favourite place in Stirling? At the moment, my favourite place in Stirling is the back of the castle, the graveyard. It's on the back walk as well. I just think it's very peaceful and beautiful. And there's that craggy bit that you can sit on and look out over the whole of Stirling. Well, not the whole of Stirling, but the back of Stirling. And also when Runrig played their last gig in that field just beyond the Cup and Saucers, that is where me and my mum stood in the graveyard at the top of the craggy bit and watched the fireworks from the castle, which were really cool. What inspired you to develop your craft further from a young age? I think, well, here's a quick story. My sister and we went for her 3rd birthday to see Annie in a theatre in Glasgow, and in the really sad, quiet bit, she stood up and screamed, "I want to be on that stage!" And I think that feeling, which was very brilliant, but I think that feeling is exactly it. I think storytelling is so important, and I love playing, I love imagining, and I think just being given the opportunity to go to classes and to speak to people who also feel like that, that's what helps me go on to do it more. What actors are you inspired by? Apart from my dad, I was actually inspired by a lot of people that I met while filming The Nest. I think that Shirley Henderson is a chameleon of an actor. She is so wonderful and changing in every single role that I see. And she's from Scotland, she's from Fife, originally born in Florence. So her, and then Martin Compston. It's amazing how people from similar backgrounds or from similar places to us go out and do this, and they're people I've looked to and been inspired by. Same with James Harkness and Davy Hayman and Kate Dickie, just incredible Scottish actors who have really inspired me, yeah, also Jodie Comer. I love how everything that I've seen her in, I've been like, she's like this, no, she's like this, and every single box that she's put in by the world, being like, she's like this, she breaks, and then when she's on an interview she's totally different to all of those people. I think that's brilliant acting. What goals do you aim to achieve in your acting career? I just hope to keep doing it. I just would love to keep being able to act. That's my goal. I think just to tell good stories, or stories that are important, that represent people who haven't been represented before, or that change the way you perceive the world a bit, that give an escape. Those are important stories that represent, yeah. What's your favourite part that you've played so far? So I'm going to have to split that between Florence in Sex Education and Kaya in The Nest. Kaya in The Nest because it was very challenging and brilliantly challenging, and I was questioning constantly. I really had to know what my thoughts were, and I had to sort of understand the world of Kaya, that this is how she'd react to things, and there's some things that Kaya did that I wouldn't do, or I find very questionable, and I had to be able to make that human to me, make that understandable. And I think that's something you have to do for all your characters. Find your similarities and your differences, and for the differences to make them justifiable. That was what was interesting, and I just thought it was such an awesome and exciting 3 months of filming and taking direction, and yeah, both characters since I've met and encountered have made me look at the worlds differently and have a different perception of what I think is right or totally wrong, or it's just I'm very grateful to have known these women. Same for Florence. So Florence, she was, first of all, I had loads of fun when, especially with the whole cast and crew and dressing up as Juliet in the school play, and that whole musical was amazing. But Florence was amazing and had her challenges, and there was so much research that I had to do, and my eyes have been opened to the vast spectrum and wide sort of the subject that is sexuality and how different each of us are, and that was a real honour to be able to play someone with such depth and to explore and see the world through her eyes. That was amazing, and through the amazing writing to be able to speak those words. And so I really, yeah, I thought that was a really brilliant opportunity, like, character, and I'm really thankful that I got to be her face and skin and bones. What have you been doing during lockdown, and what do you look forward to afterwards? I have not been doing much. I've been really chilled and relaxing. I had all these plans of creative things I was going to do and fitness things, and they've all gone out the window, although I did run for 1 week, but gave that up because it's not for me. yes, I've been doing that. I've been relaxing, speaking to my family, eating really good food, walking, just chilling out, which is nice. And what do I look forward to? A big dance, I think. A big old dance with people. Maybe a ceilidh or something. Yeah, that's what I look forward to. Also just a normal thing, like being with my family who are not in this house and my friends who aren't here. That's what I really look forward to. What one book do you think I should read? Now, I'm going to tie this into the world of TV and film. Can sometimes seem so far away. What's your advice for someone from Stirling who wants to get into acting but doesn't know where to start? So, I'd say drama classes if you can. If you can, drama classes are great. If not, poetry books I find are really helpful. And so I'd say poetry like Leonard Cohen I love, although not always do I understand at all. So just reading aloud if you can, and making, there's a question below here that's what advice would you give to a young person who wants to pursue a career in acting? I'd say to anyone who wants to act is to trust their gut and their instinct, and to just follow that scent. That, along with, if you want to make connections to people who are in the industry, agents, casting directors, whoever, I would say you can do this. You can film yourself doing a speech or words, some sort of text, something that you've written even if you want, and making that film and sending that off, because that can help introduce you to people, and if they like what they see, they can get back in contact with you. So that's helpful. A show reel, there's lots of examples on the internet if you want to have a look. What would your dream acting role be? Like I said, anything good, bad, ugly, just a tasty character. I'd quite like to play Boadicea or Boudica, however you pronounce her name, because she's a character and a half. Strong woman who defied all walls and barriers to seek revenge on people that she loved, for people that she loved. Also, I like cabaret, so Sally Bowles would be cool. I like that. Do I have a secret talent or a hidden skill? I can make my tongue into a butt. Ta-da! I don't think that'll get me very far, but it's the only one I've got that I can remember right now. What music are you listening to? I'm listening to some jazz, Ella Fitzgerald, Etta James, Billie Holiday. I'm also listening to the Quarrymen, who were the Beatles before the Beatles, and some of the Beatles. I'm listening. That's what I'm listening to right now. And Lovely You by Monster Rally is my song of choice of the day today. What was the first album you bought? That would be Back to Black by Amy Winehouse, which I think is timeless. I think it will be timeless. It's just, that's a great album. And, what is your favourite film or TV show? Right now it changes every day, but I really like the film Moonrise Kingdom, directed by Wes Anderson, because it was the first thing I've seen by him, and it was strange and brilliant and just colourful and unusual. I really enjoyed that, and I think I might watch that tonight. What about... Oh yeah, I've recently watched Deer Hunter, which I thought was incredible and an acting masterclass. It's my dad's favourite film, and we'd never watched it, and then we just sat down and did, and it was just amazing. Also, TV shows. Right now I've sort of tried to look places for a bit of an escape, and I found that in This Country, which is on iPlayer just now, and it just sort of, whatever's going on in the world, when I sort of look at that, it takes me away, and I'm totally engaged in it, and I think it's beautiful and gentle and funny and great. What was the best live concert you've ever been to? That would be in the McRobert Arts Centre in Stirling, and it would be the Ailey Brown concert, because if you've never been, I would encourage, if it comes back again, definitely go, because it's a beautiful night, filled with the memory of a beautiful and wonderful young woman, and the sort of the vibe is all these people, all this love in one room, celebrating this dream that has become a reality, and the building of a house, a place of safety and joy, and it's where there's music, acting, dancing, there's a spectrum of talent on the stage, and it's people I know and love. It's Stirling, sat in the seats, people I see on the street that I've never met, but it's home. That's home. That room is home, and it's joyful and cheering, and it's only love. It is only love that is poured out into that room. And then the Fratellis sometimes come on and do a mad big explosion of music, and everyone is cheering, dancing, screaming, crying, loving, laughing, and it's just an amazing night. So that's the best live concert I've been to. Thank you so much, so much for having me and letting me chat to you today. I hope I have covered things that I wanted to say that might be of interest. Thank you very much, and lots of love.